Your brain is sabotaging every decision you make. 9 cognitive biases, operating right now, in your mind, without your awareness, making you predictably irrational. Ready to see your brain's tricks? You think you're rational, making logical decisions, based on facts, based on evidence. You're not. Your brain is riddled with biases, systematic errors. In thinking, evolution programmed these biases for survival, not accuracy. Fast decisions, not correct decisions. Your ancestors who thought carefully got eaten. Your ancestors who thought fast survived. You inherited their biased brain. These 9 biases operate unconsciously, automatically, universally, in every human, including you, especially you. Knowing about them doesn't eliminate them. Even psychologists who study biases still fall victim to them. Awareness helps, doesn't cure, can only recognize when being influenced. Today you learn 9 cognitive biases sabotaging your decisions. Not from motivational content, from cognitive psychology. Not what feels good, what's documented. Not comfortable truth, brutal truth. Drop this if you're ready. I recognize my brain is biased. Let's begin. Bias 1, confirmation bias. You seek information that confirms what you already believe. You have political opinion. Read news. That agrees with you. Ignore news. That contradicts you. This is confirmation bias. Most powerful bias. Most universal. Most destructive. Your brain doesn't seek truth. Seeks confirmation of existing beliefs. Why? Because changing beliefs is cognitively expensive. Maintaining beliefs is cognitively cheap. Brain optimizes for efficiency, not accuracy. Finds easier to confirm than to change. This creates echo chambers. You only consume information confirming your worldview, only associate with people sharing your opinions, only remember evidence supporting your position, unconsciously filter everything else out. Result, beliefs become stronger. Reality becomes irrelevant. Studies prove this brutally. Show people evidence contradicting their beliefs. What happens? Beliefs strengthen, not weaken. Called backfire effect. Contradictory evidence makes people more convinced they're right, not less. Brain protecting existing beliefs at all costs. You can't eliminate confirmation bias, can only recognize it. Ask yourself, am I seeking truth or seeking confirmation? When did I last consume information challenging my beliefs? When did I last change my mind about something important? If answers are never or long ago, you're in confirmation bias prison. Bias 2, Dunning-Kruger effect. The less you know, the more confident you are. Beginners overconfident, experts appropriately humble. This is Dunning-Kruger effect, named after researchers who documented it. Incompetent people don't know enough to know how little they know. Start learning guitar after 2 weeks. Think you're good after 2 years. Realize how bad you are. This pattern, universal. Incompetence breeds confidence. Competence breeds doubt. Because competent people see complexity. Incompetent people see simplicity. Complex seems hard. Simple seems easy. This bias explains everything. Why bottom performers overestimate abilities by 40%. Why top performers underestimate slightly. Why everyone thinks they're above average driver. Mathematically impossible. Still universally believed. Most dangerous in modern world where everyone has platform. Share opinions on everything. Politics, science, medicine, economics. Complex topics requiring expertise. Dunning-Kruger victims speak loudest, most confidently, because they know least. You recognize this in yourself by examining learning curve. When you started new skill, were you overconfident? After you improved, did confidence actually decrease as you saw true complexity? If yes, you experienced Dunning-Kruger. Like everyone, difference is recognizing it. Bias 3, anchoring effect. The first number you see influences all subsequent judgments. See price tag, original price, crossed out, sale price, shown. You think, good deal, based on anchored price. Original price was arbitrary. Inflated specifically. To anchor you. Anchoring works. Powerfully. In negotiations. First offer. Sets anchor. All subsequent offers. Adjust from. Initial anchor. Real estate shows. Overpriced house first. Makes next house seem reasonable. By comparison. Even if. Still overpriced. This bias. Unconscious. Automatic. Can't turn off. Studies show. Showing people. Random numbers. Before asking. Unrelated questions. Changes answers. Significantly. Arbitrary anchor. Still influences. Completely unrelated. Judgment. Your brain. Latches onto. First information. Uses it. As reference point. For everything after. Even when. First information. Completely irrelevant. This is why. Initial impressions. So powerful. First price seen. First person met. First explanation heard. All create anchors. Hard to adjust from. You protect yourself from anchoring by deliberately ignoring first number, first information, first impression. Generate own estimate before seeing anyone else's. Then compare to others. Not other way around. Start from anchor. Will stay near. Anchor. Bias 4. Availability heuristic. You judge likelihood by ease of recall. Plane crash. News coverage. Massive. Everyone talks about it. You now think. Plane crashes. Common. They're not. Car crashes. Kill thousands. More people. But less memorable. Less available. Brain judges frequency by memorability, not statistics. This creates systematic errors in risk assessment. People fear. Shark attacks. Terrorism. Plane crashes. Rare events. Heavily covered. Highly memorable. Don't fear. Heart disease. Car accidents. Common events. Not memorable. Actually dangerous. Availability heuristic. Why anecdotes? More powerful than statistics. One vivid story about vaccine injury outweighs million-person study showing safety. Story is memorable. Available. Study is abstract. Not available. Brain weights. Memorable. More than. Accurate. Your decisions. Constantly influenced by what's most available. In memory. Recent events. Dramatic events. Emotional events. All more available than routine events. Statistical facts. Abstract information. So you overweight. Available information. Underweight. Actual probabilities. You counter this by deliberately seeking statistics, not anecdotes. Base rates. Not singular events. Actual frequencies. Not memorable examples. Ask how common. Is this really? Not. Can I remember? Example of this. Bias 5. Sunk cost fallacy. You continue bad investments because you've already invested. Watched bad movie for 30 minutes. Should leave. But think. I already invested. 30 minutes. Stay for 90 more minutes. Miserable. This is sunk cost fallacy. Sunk costs are gone. Unrecoverable. Shouldn't influence future decisions. But they do. Powerfully. Relationship failing. But I invested. 5 years. Job making miserable. But I invested. Decade. Business losing money. But I invested. Savings. Rational decision. Ignores sunk costs. Considers only future costs. Future benefits. Staying in relationship. What does it cost? What benefit? Past 5 years. Irrelevant. Gone already. Can't get back. Emotional brain. Doesn't accept this. Feels like admitting failure. Wasting investment. So you stay. Throw good money. After bad. Studies show. People more likely. Continue project. Already failing. If they invested. Previously. Even when. Continuing guaranteed. More loss. Can't accept. Sunk cost. As sunk. Keep investing. Hoping to recover. Initial investment. Never do. You overcome this. By ruthlessly. Ignoring past investment. Ask only going forward. From now. Should I invest? More time. More money. More energy. In this? If answer no. Stop. Regardless of. Past investment. Past is gone. Can only choose. Future. Bias 6. Hindsight bias. After outcome known you think you always knew. Event happens. You think. I knew that. Would happen. You didn't. You're remembering. selectively, creating false memory of prediction. This is hindsight bias, also called I knew it all along effect. Hindsight bias, dangerous because it makes you overconfident, inability to predict future. Market crashes. I knew that was coming. You didn't. If you knew, you'd have profited. Relationship ends. I knew that wouldn't work. You didn't. You were surprised. Brain rewrites. Memory after. Outcome known. This bias prevents learning from mistakes. Because if you think you predicted outcome, why would you change behavior? Weren't wrong, just unlucky. This thinking prevents growth, prevents adaptation, keeps you making same mistakes, thinking you predicted each failure. Studies demonstrate this powerfully. Tell people event outcome. Ask them what they predicted before event. People systematically overestimate what they knew before outcome. Memory gets rewritten after outcome known. You counter this by writing down predictions before events happen, then comparing what you predicted to what occurred. This reveals how wrong you usually are, calibrates confidence appropriately, shows how little you actually know in advance. Bias 7. Groupthink. You conform to group consensus even when wrong. Group making decision. Everyone agrees. You have doubts. Don't voice them. Why? Group consensus feels safe. Disagreement feels risky. This is groupthink. Suppression of dissent. For group harmony, groupthink creates terrible decisions. Bay of Pigs, Challenger explosion, financial crisis, all resulted from groupthink. Smart people in rooms making obviously bad decisions because no one willing to break consensus, risk social cost. This happens because humans are social animals. Belonging to group mattered for survival. Being outcast meant death. So brain values consensus over correctness. Better to be wrong with group than right alone. Evolutionary logic. Terrible for decision making. Studies show people conform to obviously wrong group answers, even simple questions like comparing line lengths. If group says wrong line, most people agree with group, even when I say otherwise. Social pressure, that powerful. You resist groupthink by deliberately playing devil's advocate, forcing yourself to articulate opposing view, even if don't believe it. Protects group from consensus trap, creates space for dissent, better decisions. Result. Bias 8. Negativity bias. Bad is stronger than good in every domain. One criticism outweighs 10 compliments. One failure erases 10 successes. One negative review cancels 10 positive. This is negativity bias. Fundamental asymmetry. In psychology, evolution explains this. Your ancestors who noticed threats survived. Ancestors who noticed opportunities sometimes died. Better to see 10 false threats than miss one real threat. So brain evolved to weight negative more than positive. This creates systematic distortion in perception. Life could be 90% good, 10% bad. You focus on 10% bad. Feel like life is terrible because bad registers stronger. Takes more good to balance one bad. Studies show takes 5 positive interactions to overcome one negative interaction. In relationships, takes much more positive feedback to balance negative feedback. At work, negative news gets more attention than positive news. In media, pattern universal. You counter this by deliberately weighting positive more consciously because brain weights it less automatically. Keep gratitude journal. Force yourself. Notice good. Remember, brain automatically notices bad. Must deliberately notice good to balance. Bias 9. Overconfidence effect. You think you're better than you are at almost everything. 93% of drivers think they're above average driver. Mathematically impossible, but universally believed. This is overconfidence effect. Most pervasive bias. You overestimate your abilities, your knowledge, your predictions. your control, systematically, consistently, universally. Why? Because accurate self-assessment didn't help. Survival. Overconfidence helped. Confidence attracts mates, intimidates rivals, wins resources. Evolution selected for overconfidence, not accuracy. This bias causes massive problems in modern world. Overconfident investors lose money. Overconfident drivers cause accidents. Overconfident leaders start wars. Overconfidence everywhere, destroying value, hurting people, creating disasters. Studies prove this. Ask people, rate their performance, compare to actual performance. Everyone rates themselves higher than actual. Bottom quartile thinks they're in top quartile. Top quartile thinks they're slightly higher than actual. Everyone overconfident. You reduce this by seeking objective feedback, not subjective. Test yourself against reality, not against your beliefs. Track your predictions against outcomes. Reveals how wrong you usually are. Calibrates confidence downward to realistic levels. You've learned 9 cognitive biases sabotaging your decisions. Confirmation bias, Dunning-Kruger effect, anchoring, availability heuristic, sunk cost fallacy, hindsight bias, groupthink, negativity bias, overconfidence, all operating right now in your brain, making you predictably irrational. These aren't character flaws, they're brain features. Evolution programmed them for survival, not accuracy. They worked in ancestral environment, fail in modern world, but brain still using them. Can upgrade, can only work around. Understanding biases doesn't eliminate them. Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman spent career studying biases, still falls victim to them. Awareness helps, doesn't cure, can recognize when influenced, can implement corrective strategies, can't make biases disappear. You can improve decision-making by knowing these biases, actively countering each one, deliberately seeking disconfirming evidence, recognizing Dunning-Kruger, ignoring anchors, checking statistics, ignoring sunk costs, recording predictions, encouraging dissent, noticing positive, calibrating confidence. All strategies that work. Your brain will always be biased. Question is, will you recognize it, work around it, make better decisions, or stay ignorant? Let biases control you. Make terrible decisions. Your choice. Think deeper. Feel less. Know more. This is the hidden mindset.